Hello, everyone. When it comes to family, one must always choose their relatives over friends. That's because when all is said and done, friends can betray you for personal gain, but your blood will always be loyal to you. Also, don't forget to turn on notifications. Only today we're telling the story of a man named Michael Franzese. He was a teenager when he first started to engage in illegal activities. John was also a mafia boss, but he led a different clan. The man felt guilty about what had happened to the innocent people who died because of him, and he hoped that his friend would help him find peace. At the shelter, Michael met a woman named Deborah and her son Anthony. Michael immediately called the police, but they didn't come in time. The raid was led by none other than Michael's brother John. He asked Father Lawrence to accompany him. At the request of the boss, Deborah and her son flew to Israel as well. There Michael finally realized that he couldn't live like a fugitive anymore. And when the doctor said he'd never be able to walk again, the man decided to take drastic measures. Despite the fact that Michael had given up his criminal life, his brothers still hadn't given up the search. To protect themselves from journalists, Michael and his adoptive son Anthony changed their names to Mike and Nicky. He couldn't deny that prison had changed him. His health was also far from perfect. He was released from prison early, and now he was trying to get back into the criminal world. But Michael refused to help him, which made his brother furious. Then John threatened to kill Mike and Nicky if Michael didn't give him $1 million. The boss didn't agree to his brother's demands, so John killed one of his friends and left him in front of his house. That was a message. Michael understood perfectly well what he needed to do. The boss was only able to get around with the help of a cane. At first, Michael didn't want to have anything to do with his past life. He dedicated all his free time to his son, helping him to adapt to living with a disability. The man even opened a business selling Italian food. While his son was visiting his father in prison, one of the fellow inmates attacked Nicky. He was taken to the hospital with several stab wounds. This time John was charged with several murders and sentenced to 25 years in prison. Betrayal is one of the worst things a person can experience. There are many reasons why friends and relatives do it, but the result is always the same. Let this story be a lesson to you. Seeing this, Michael's old partners decided not to waste their time on futile resistance and surrendered to the police. In the end, the boss became the most important witness in the most extensive racketeering case in U.S. history. Since then, Nicky couldn't walk on his own. So once Michael learned that the police captain was planning to go to Las Vegas, he suggested he accompanied him there. Michael paid for the boy's treatment and stayed with him in the hospital until he was discharged. The man tried to get Deborah to accept his money, but the woman didn't agree. Michael was deeply moved by her dedication and selflessness. And when Anthony recovered, the man decided to adopt the boy. The brothers fought fiercely, but eventually John managed to get the upper hand and shoot Michael. Luckily, the boss survived, though he had no idea what to do next. The captain understood perfectly well that it wasn't the boss's fault and forgave him. It turned out that while the boss was in Israel, one of his former accomplices testified against him, saying that Michael had ordered a hit on him. Though Michael knew that this wasn't true, he couldn't prove his innocence. The boss was sentenced to 10 years in prison, but since he had testified against his brother, the judge showed leniency and reduced his sentence to 5 years. They were so immersed in conversation that neither of them noticed the other passengers getting nervous. The men only realized something was wrong when they were surrounded by armed FBI agents. It turned out that Michael's brother had tipped them off about the captain's S-trip, and the agents were after the boss. The captain tried to talk the FBI agents out of arresting Michael, explaining that he was a witness in the case against John, but nobody listened to him. The agents took Michael off the plane and put him in handcuffs. He thought about running away from the city, but then he realized that wherever he went, his brother would find him. The only way to escape was to go undercover. The boy was sick with leukemia and needed urgent treatment. The man was taken to a secret location where his wounds were treated. It was there that Michael learned that he had been shot in the shoulder and stomach. What's more, the bullet had shattered his spine. Fortunately, the operation was successful, and after spending a couple of months recovering, the boss was able to move on to rehabilitation. His mother was doing everything she could to save her child. She was ready to sell everything she had, and even put herself in danger. But the money was still needed. And Michael saw how desperate the woman was, so he gave her all the money he had left. Then the mafia boss thanked his friend for his help and left. He hoped that this would be the last time he would ever need to ask for help. Like his brother, John got into smuggling, but he specialized in weapons. All this time, his enemies were looking for him everywhere, even going through the sewers. One day, Deborah approached Michael and asked him for help. She explained that she needed the money for her son's treatment, but the man refused to give her any more money. Then the woman told him that she knew who he was and asked him to hide her son at his place. Michael agreed, though he didn't know that soon he would have to go into hiding again. During one of the deals, Michael overheard his brother discussing plans to attack a local police captain. As a law enforcement officer, Michael couldn't let such a thing go. It didn't matter that his own brother was involved. Law was law. So Michael reported what he had heard to the police. This wasn't an easy decision for him. After all, he knew how dangerous his brother was. Sure enough, soon after the meeting with the police captain, John sent some men after Michael. Luckily, the cop was warned in time and he managed to escape. However, that night his house was riddled with bullets. Michael understood perfectly well who was behind this and who else wanted him dead. From that moment on, the man went into hiding. Soon, the young guy became the most promising member of his clan and a favorite among women. When he was just 21 years old, he was given the honorable title of Capo Regime, or a high-ranking mafia boss. The man made his fortune by smuggling cigarettes, alcohol, and drugs. But sometimes even family members can stab you in the back. Today, you'll see what happens when you cross the wrong person. These events will make you think twice before betraying someone. So stay till the end to see what fate awaits the protagonist of our story. Before we start, subscribe so that you won't miss out on any new stories. Michael Franzese was born into an Italian mafia family. It all started with the fact that Michael had an older brother named John Gotti. A few days later, Michael went to see his friend, Father Lorenzo, who ran a church shelter for the homeless. Michael hid in the shelter for 2 weeks. That same night, a group of armed men broke into the shelter looking for the fugitive. The boss appealed to the police captain he had saved from John's attack. In order to fully recover, Michael needed to undergo surgery in Israel, but the man didn't want to go there alone. Later, Michael and Father Lawrence returned home. The police captain who had helped the boss offered him to stay at his ranch. On the plane, Michael asked the captain for forgiveness for what had happened at the shelter. Michael expected to be charged with tax evasion or racketeering, but he was charged with murder. During the trial, the media didn't take long to find out that the boss was Michael Franzese. The name of the mafia boss became widely known. After serving his sentence, Michael was released, and he started to feel like a different person. But one day, John Gotti visited Michael. He had no choice but to testify against his brother once again. As you can see, Michael Franzese's life was full of ups and downs.